What's going on, guys? Tyler here, and today we are talking more about Elementor 3.0. I am going to show you a few other little options and settings that are available in Elementor 3.0. I am running the beta version, so I'll be able to just walk you through that. And a little bit of an update, not much, but a little bit of an update on the release date of Elementor 3.0, as well as a little bonus for you is a blog post that Elementor put out that I think will be super beneficial to helping you increase conversions on your website, make your website look a lot better, and just help your website in so many different ways. So it's all going to be in this video, so let's jump in. Like I said, guys, my name is Tyler, and if you're a returning subscriber watching today's video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, welcome, and be sure and smash that nice red looking subscribe button. Join the family and be notified of videos just like this one in the future. Now, before we jump into the video, I do want to say if you guys are interested in upgrading to Elementor Pro at any time during this video, be sure and check out the link down below in the description. You see what kind of price you can get for Elementor Pro. Elementor Pro has just been an incredible plugin, helped me upgrade and just really enhance my website so much. So I definitely recommend this plugin, and if you're interested, the link is down below. With no further ado, let's jump into the video. Alright guys, so first things first, I do just want to show you a few other settings and options in Elementor 3.0. Some of these have already existed, but they're in a new location, and some of these might be a little bit new to you. So they're honestly very helpful, and they just make things a little bit easier and make the whole design and creation process of your website a little bit easier. So let's just jump over there and show you here. So we're here in the editing version of my website here, the Elementor editor basically. And right over here we have global settings. If you've never been here before, basically how you get here is you go into the Elementor editor and you hit this hamburger menu over here and then go over and click global settings. Now again, I want to remind you this is on the Elementor 3.0 beta version, so Elementor 3.0 is technically not out yet, but it will be released very soon. So go ahead and just check this out if you haven't got it upgraded yet, or if you're watching this when Elementor 3.0 is out, be sure and upgrade and you can have access to these things here. So first is site identity. If we click on that, you can see we have similar settings to what the old customization tab is. So if we actually go into the back end of my WordPress website, and after we log into the back end of my WordPress website, we can actually go to the home page and we have this customize tab right here. And if we click that, that'll actually pull up the theme settings and kind of the WordPress backend and allow us to change things like site identity, like our title of our blog, maybe a description, feature photo, all those type of things that we can do, you know, from this WordPress site editor basically. Well, in Elementor, at least 3.0, maybe they implemented this a little bit earlier, but it's new. It's now here in the global settings and new to this whole global settings menu. So we now have the option or the opportunity to add a site name here, a site description, site logo, site fave icon, which is that little tiny icon that you see up in the top corner here. You can see Google's right up here. You can see Elementor's right here, or WordPress is right here. Basically, we can go ahead and add all of that stuff without even leaving the Elementor editor. So it's very nice and just gives us a little bit easier of transition from WordPress to an Elementor editor. So that is what site identity is. And now if we go back to the global settings, we can see we have colors and typography. I'll just open this. I've made many videos about how to use this, when to use it, and if you guys haven't checked out my migrating to Elementor 3.0 yet, I highly recommend you check that out, because if you have a website that is built on Elementor less than 3.0, you're going to want to go ahead and set some things up and get ready to upgrade to Elementor 3.0. So check out the migrating to Elementor 3.0 video that I released last week. And thank you so much for watching the first look at Elementor 3.0. I go over everything in here in that video, and that video is really going off right now, so thank you so much for that. Here is where you set your global typography and your global colors to match your brand and your website. And then right over here, if we go back to the global settings, we have Lightbox. You can actually go ahead and edit and set your adjustments for your default Lightbox and what you want your Lightbox to look like. So if that's something that you're using frequently in your website or anything like that, you can go ahead and set all of those settings right here. I'm not going to go through it too much because I don't typically use this in my site that much. If I need to use it, I usually I'll adjust the settings on a kind of a case-by-case basis, but if you want to set kind of default settings and everything like that, you can do that right there. Now, after we leave the Lightbox settings menu, we can actually go back, and we have two more options, and the first one is layout, the second one is theme style. So layout right here, this is going to be, if you haven't used this yet before, it's actually kind of helpful, and this is kind of where you set your width. So the actual width of the page, so if we look at my mouse right here, kind of from this left side right here, you can see everything's kind of cut off, nothing pushes over past this left side, and you can see this right side over here, nothing really pushes past or pushes over to the right of that. So if we want to adjust that size, we can actually simply just drag this, and that will space things out, or we can tighten it and that will tighten things in. So now that is the actual content width, so this is still being bound by some other customizations, but basically this is the whole size of the page. So the whole box of the page can be adjusted just by this, and you can see my menu is actually stretching out. This content is actually bound by some other bounds somewhere in our settings. We would have to go in and find those and adjust those, but this will adjust the entire content width of the page, and the default is 1140, so we can just go ahead and actually leave that at 1140. And then the widget space, this is actually very helpful and something that I didn't know at first, and it was kind of frustrating because I wanted things spaced out pretty evenly, but the spacing was kind of weird and I was having to add margins to everything. So this is actually the spacing between the different widgets. So if we bring this down, you can kind of see everything kind of just gets a little bit closer. You can see that this spacer right here is now pushed more up towards the image. You can see this body text right here is pushed now up towards the header, and as we pull it out, you can see things space out more and more and more, and that's because that's the spacing between each widget. So for example, we have the header here, and then we have the body text here, and that's just measuring the spacing between them. So the default again for that is 20. And if we need to have a page title selector, this is a little bit more advanced, probably not going to need too much of this type of stuff, or the stretch body section fit to. You can actually set them to custom like divs or custom boxes. It's a little bit more advanced, don't worry about that too much. You can change your layout right here. There's a few other places you can change this, but you can actually change this to an Elementor canvas, which is going to make a completely blank Elementor page. I can actually just go ahead and switch that here and show you what this looks like. But basically you can change that to an Elementor canvas or an Elementor full width, and I might have to update the page for this to actually take into effect. Let's see here if this actually works. Maybe. It doesn't seem to be working. Again, this might just be an Elementor 3.0 beta bug. Yeah, here's the layout right here. It didn't switch, but the Elementor canvas essentially takes off your whole header pretty much. So I'm guessing that was just an Elementor 3.0 beta bug. It didn't really seem to work or make any type of adjustment. If I go back here to layout, I don't think it's going to change anything. Yeah, it looks like it's just not really activated or not doing anything. So if you do want to go ahead and change that layout, you can actually go here to settings, and then you can go to the default layout and change that to Elementor canvas or Elementor full width. I'm just going to leave mine on default, and we'll go back to the global settings. So again, a little bit of a bug there, but you can change that in other location nonetheless. So we'll go ahead and set that back to default, not that it really makes a difference. These breakpoints are actually kind of important and could be helpful, especially as we see, like different phone sizes, or if you're having customers visit, with higher density pixels, like meaning more pixels in their browser or less pixels in their browser, kind of tailored towards your customers. These are pretty good generic standards, but if you do need to adjust them, you can do that here. And basically what this does is it switches basically, so if you have your mobile layout set to 768, that means anyone that views your website using a browser that's using 1 pixel, I mean that would be a tiny browser, but 1 pixel to 768 pixels will see the mobile version of your website. And anyone viewing your web browser or viewing your website from a web browser with the size of 769 pixels up to 1025, because that's the number that we've set right here, will see the tablet version of your website. And anyone using a web browser that is larger than 1025, so 1026 pixels to infinity, basically, will see the desktop version of your website. So that's how that's broken down. You can make adjustments. So say you needed, people with a 600 pixel web browser to see your tablet version. You can actually go ahead and adjust this mobile down to, let's say it would be, so if it's 600, you would move it to 599. And just like that, now if somebody has a 600 pixel web browser, then it's actually going to display the tablet version. Of course, you need to hit update here, and that's how you would do that. But it's kind of helpful if you do need to make adjustments, little tweaks or anything like that. You can do that right here. And again, this is all under the global settings. Now, theme styles is a little bit, I believe this might even be outdated. In order for theme styles to affect all relevant Elementor elements, please disable default colors and fonts from the settings page. So you are going to need to make adjustments to your kind of global settings and your default settings and stuff like that. I wouldn't worry too much about this. I would more use colors and typography in your global settings menu. I think that's just going to work a lot better. So I would definitely focus on these new additions that they've made to the global colors and the global typography and not worry about theme style settings. Now that about wraps it up for our global style settings. Now a few things I did just want to mention because I'm not done here. We got a few more things to talk about is Elementor 3.0. They had a tentative release date, I believe, for August 4th, which that date has come and passed. And obviously you saw here there are some bugs still in this Elementor beta software, and I found some other, I think, in my past videos I showed there was maybe another one I found, but we want an Elementor 3.0 that is stable and working correctly without any kinks or bugs or glitches. So we really want a stable product. So although they missed their tentative scheduled release date, I did see on their Instagram story today that they said things are going well and they are very close to launching. So by very close, I would imagine here within the next few weeks we should have Elementor 3.0. Again, I have no inside information on that. I'm just going off what they said on their Instagram story, which said they're very close to releasing. So that is where we're at. Now, I do want to tell you about one other blog article. It was just put out not that long ago. I got an email about it, and this is by Elementor, and an absolutely phenomenal, great work to these blog writers. A phenomenal article about designing your website, and I highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out. So if we actually switch back here to my computer, if we go to Principles of Web Design Elementor, if you just Google this, Principles of Web Design Elementor, it should be the first one that pops up. It's under Elementor's blog, and it is just a great article, to be honest. It says principles of website design every web professional should know. You could see I was already scrolled down. I've been skimming through this and reading through it. It's really great. It talks all about just design principles, design guidelines, design rules and laws, and all kinds of different stuff about how to design a very clean website that's not only great for user interface but also for your user experience. And just to share here with you a few of these different principles or laws that are here. Make the main actionable targets easy to reach. So they talk about here, like when you're designing your mobile version of your website, you want to make things easy for people to tap on. Obviously, you design your desktop for things for people to click on, but when you're tapping from a mobile device, things are a little bit different. So bigger images, bigger things, bigger just buttons or actionable items are easier for people to tap on. So that's a great little tip. Keep users' choices to a minimum. This one talks about having two choices versus having multiple choices, and the more complex the choices, the harder it is for people to make a decision and to actually click and take action. And so there's just so many different things. Place related elements in common areas. The law of common region, and talking about keeping similar items and common things together and in the same spot in your website. One thing that it also talks about is that people, when they come to your website, they have an expectation of how your website is going to work and how different things should perform. So if they see a hamburger menu, when they click it, they expect a little menu to pop out. That's just how our minds are set up, because we've used so many other websites, because we've used so many other apps and things like that on our phones, or on, even for desktop. There's other, expectations that we have because we've used other websites and other things, other apps and stuff like that. So it says, you want to be unique, but you don't want to stray away from the essentials and what people expect to happen. And so it makes the user experience so much easier for them when they click on a hamburger menu and it pops out, as opposed to, a drop down or something different that they're not expecting, or it scrolls to the bottom of the page, or something that totally catches them off guard. It's easier for them, and they trust things a lot faster if they have expected results from their actions. So I highly recommend this article. If you haven't read it already, it is absolutely awesome. And guys, with no further ado, I think that about wraps it up. I do just want to say that Elementor 3.0 is going to be awesome. It is a really, really great plugin, and Elementor Pro is super awesome. Absolutely love that plugin. So be sure and check out the links down below in the description. See what kind of price you can get for them, for Elementor Pro. I think it's just an incredible plugin and will increase the just overall appearance and overall usability of your website immensely. So also, if you have not hit that subscribe button, be sure and smash that nice red looking subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I am growing the family nice and big. I actually have a tracker right here of how many subscribers I have, and it is increasing, very consistently and very quickly. So I really appreciate you guys doing that. And please, just tap that nice red looking subscribe button if you haven't already. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.